This is We the People on WKM the voice of liberty here in the Ohio River Valley. I'm Rick Roos, and I'm delighted to talk to a political friend of mine, Paul Kilpatrick, who's also nicknamed across the country as Killer. Welcome, Killer.
Glad to be here. Thank you, Rick.
Killer is the author of a new book called Political Pithyism. I'll hold the book up so I won't screw it up anymore. But it's a remarkable paperback full of nuggets of wisdom and contains a lot of Paul's wisdom. Why did you write the book, and what is its primary theme, Killer?
Well, I got involved with Tea Party events, if you will. To start off with, got a little bit more knowledgeable in what was going on in our world of politics. Like most people, or most Americans, I spent 50 years working to make a living. It was in the airline industry. The airline industry was very, very demanding. Once I retired, I started having time to look around and see what was going on, and it was devastating. Wanted to get involved in trying to correct that, and this book is a part of that effort.
You quote a lot of the founding fathers. That's the basis for your Pithyisms. What is pithy and what is Pithyism?
Well, the Pithyism obviously throws people's tongues off. I've never seen that word. I sort of coined it. And it's taking a variety of subject matters, in this case a number of quotes from the founders, and highlighting it as a pithy statement and then adding an updated version of what it would be if it was applied today, and discussing some of the issues that flow from that. For instance, one of the sections I have in there is an item by John Adams where he talked about he had to be a warrior, he had to fight, he had to do this, that, and the other to create a country in which his sons could study things like marine engineering and architecture and politics and philosophy, so that their children could have an even better world. And then I took that and I stepped it out item by item to show what I thought would be a good way to realize that in today's era. And of course, Common Core goes right up against that. They don't want us to have that kind of a sense of ourselves and our need.
Well, you've hit the gamut of issues, from the gold standard to inflation to abortion. I mean, it seemed like you hit about every conceivable political issue that we just saw this last year, and you did it against the backdrop of the founders' quotations. What was your favorite Pithyism?
Favorite quotation would probably be a Jefferson quote. Let me go to that right now. I had a little bit of a debate with myself over that, or to be more contemporary, James Wilson had a quote that I like that really applies to what happened after the Patriot Act, or on the lead up to the act. But Jefferson's quote, and this leads into something else that I talked to you about on the phone the other night about the infamous article. And this is, in questions of power, then let no more be heard of confidence in man, but bind him down from mischief by the chains of the Constitution. And that was in the Kentucky Resolutions of 1798. Now, part of what was driving that was the Alien and Sedition Acts. And without getting into a whole lot of history about that, the Sedition Acts obviously was, I think John Adams was onto something when he brought that out. The only problem was he didn't apply it universally. He just only applied it to the Democrat, Republican outlets that were complaining about his administration. If he'd gone universal, we might have a more subjective press, if you will, today. But that went by the boards, and Jefferson let that sunset. When we speak in terms of change, and this is what brings me to the fact that that's a favorite quote of mine, we come to the kind of change that are being applied to us these days by the Code of Federal Regulations. And of course, the current administration has added hundreds of thousands of pages to that. And every one of them just takes a little bit more liberty away, or a whole lot of liberty in some cases, all at one fell swoop. And if we had the ability to keep that bureaucratic monster from growing, then we would be way ahead of the problems we have today. We actually probably wouldn't even have the problems that we've had in the last 8 years. But that's hindsight, and it's water over the bridge. Now, in respect of what's going on with the Code of Federal Relations, it creates a situation where administrative law courts, which are above what you and I understand is law, they make their own rules as they go, on the fly, and they are tyrants in the first degree. They do what they want to, and that's what befalls us as a problem that we can't deal with. Most people don't know how to even direct themselves if they're subject to an administrative law court. Now, Infamous had a speech written by Philip Hamburger, which is titled "The History and Danger of Administrative Law." It's in their archives at Hillsdale College, Infamous. And I would refer people to reading that to give them some idea of what kind of terror we're in, just by people that are not controlled by legislators, presidents, or courts.
Your book is well referenced throughout, that's for sure. Now, I just had a question as far as style of the book. You use different fonts, different colors. Why?
To differentiate from each different pithy statement, make the eyes adjust to the fact that, well, we're swapping to another thought here.
Uh-huh.
And going back to some instructions I had from an old relative of mine, an uncle who was an optometrist, he says that is a very good way of relaxing the eye.
Uh-huh.
Like that, because it has something to do with the ocular nerve and how it is tensed and what have you. And if you give it an occasion to flex and relax, then it improves your vision.
Now, tell the audience some of your background, Killer. You've had a wide-ranging background, particularly in aviation.
Started out wanting to have a journalistic career. Hoosier. Ernie Pyle was my role model. I wanted to follow in his footsteps. It only took about 6 months of an internship at Miami Herald to correct that. And that was 60 years ago. And of course it's gotten worse than ever since. I moved from that into the airline business. The family had been involved in the airlines, so I evolved into that. Made a career out of that, rose to manager of mine maintenance planning at Eastern Airlines. And at FedEx, when Eastern Airlines went under, I transferred over to FedEx, and with them, FedEx has a fetish for long titles. I was the Senior Global Operations Command and Control Specialist, which is a fancy statement for flight dispatcher and coordinator. We ran geographical segments. In my case, it was mostly the northeastern United States, into Indianapolis, where FedEx had established a major hub.
So you've been around. Now, getting back to the book, and I didn't mean to take too far afield, we have a new president, 45th president. What pithyism would you have him memorize, or the vice president-elect advocate to him?
Well, I hadn't anticipated that question. I would have to think in terms of the fact that we have to hold the political class accountable. And I don't have the pithyism applied to them. I will look that up and I'll find out one for you on that one. And I think that is what caused the result of the election. Our elitists had become unaccountable, and that really stirred up the populace. They were worried about that, concerned with it. That's why the nominees that the Republican National Committee threw out didn't hold any liking for the rank and file. The result is that Mr. Trump stepped up.
Now, where can you get your book before we go? Before we run out of time, where can people get your book?
We're gonna get the book. You go to politicalpithyisms.com, and that'll take you to an Amazon site and you can order right from there.
Okay. So, and it's Paul Kilpatrick. So,
The killer.
the killer. And I appreciate, this is the first killer I've ever interviewed, and I'm blessed by
I'm
it.
sorry, I had an ROTC instructor in high school many years ago that could not pronounce Kilpatrick.
Oh, is that why you did it? Okay. Is that where you got the
Football coach was standing right next to him. He said, I like that.
well, killer, we appreciate your time. God bless you. God bless our country, and I hope your book is a big success. It's a challenging read. I mean, this is not for the faint-hearted. You actually,
And that's why we're going to stay in the fight, Rick.
you got a lot of information to give out, and I do appreciate your friendship as well.